Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Boiling Point podcast. Firstly, this week we are going to talk about the Super Bowl. So starting off, the Chiefs beat the 49ers 31-20. At first, with the Chiefs up 10-3, it looked like the Chiefs might get a big and early lead, but the 49ers came back and scored a quick 17 points to go up 20-10. And with around 10 minutes left in the game, it looked all wrapped up. 49ers had ball, up 10. They get stopped. Chiefs get the ball, score a touchdown. 49ers get stopped again. That's already 2 times where they get stopped. Back to back. They don't run down the clock by running the ball. They don't do any of that. With Kyle Shanahan, who's apparently an offensive genius as their head coach. So then the Chiefs get the ball again, and their amazing defense gives up another touchdown, right? Because of a pass interference call that was deserved, and then they're up by 4 points, and so they have one final drive, the 49ers, to redeem themselves, and again they come up short, but this time on 3rd and 10, obviously Kyle Shanahan knew he had to drop his best play that he had in the playbook. He got Emmanuel Sanders wide open, 4 Chiefs defenders trailing him. If he caught this ball, it would have been an easy touchdown with the minute 30 left. 49ers most likely either win or go to overtime, while being up, because they would have been up 3 if the kicker made the PAT. And Jimmy Garoppolo overthrows Emmanuel Sanders by 5 yards, and that marked the end of the game. Kyle Shanahan choked, Jimmy Garoppolo choked. Richard Sherman, the whole game, when he was being left on an island. I don't know who decided that was a good idea, but they did that, and then he was getting cooked by Sammy Watkins and anyone who was on him, who he was guarding him. And when he was left on an island, would just cook him because Richard Sherman's old and he can't keep up anymore. He's only good if you hide him in the zone and put him like in a flat, because then he doesn't have to run up and down the field. He could just cover one zone, and then that, like, you don't really need that much speed to keep up there, because all really you need, like, Richard Sherman has obviously that knowledge to when to read a pass, how to cover someone, right? And that would help since he's a veteran, putting him in some type of zone like that. But if you put him covering deep, it's just not going to work. Even with safety help, he just got burned so quickly, the safety didn't even have time to come over and help him. And so that was also a big mistake by the defensive coordinator, which Kyle Shanahan should have picked up on, but it's Kyle Shanahan blowing another lead, 21 unanswered points in 10 minutes. Game over, 3 touchdowns back to back. 49ers choked. Patrick Mahomes was Super Bowl MVP. Not really deserved. He played really bad that game. He played bad in the first, second, and third quarter. Both of the interceptions were his fault. But at the end of the day, his fourth quarter, people were calling it clutch. I'm not gonna call it clutch, because really, the rest of his team stepped up. He just made a throw here and there. That wasn't super impressive. It was just a decent throw at best. So really, I don't know if he should have won Super Bowl MVP for that performance, but I guess he kind of deserved it. And then Jimmy Garoppolo obviously played awful. They both didn't play very well. Jimmy Garoppolo played even worse. At least Patrick Mahomes, when he was about to get sacked or was pressured in the pocket, he would at least do something with the ball and scramble out the pocket, do something, right? Okay, oh yeah, and Patrick Mahomes, the only way you could justify him winning Super Bowl MVP is because of his rushing touchdown. That was pretty clutch. But that did happen early in the game, though. Okay, now moving on to basketball. The Trailblazers beat the Jazz on Saturday. Damian Lillard has been going off the past couple games. He's the first player in NBA history to average 45 points and 10 assists through 6 games. That alone is historic. This season, he is shooting 45% from shots 33 feet and longer, which is also insane. The fact that he's shooting that efficiently from that far out. He's shooting from the logo, no problem. He's had a couple 50-point games. A 60-point game on Kobe's night in LA. He dropped 48, nearly 50-point triple-double. He was 2 points away and 1 rebound away from a triple-double, 50-point triple-double. Really, if he keeps this up, I don't know if that's even possible. He's obviously amazing. Probably the best point guard in the NBA right now, if you're excluding Curry. I don't know if it's possible to keep this up, but if he does, I don't see the Blazers not making the playoffs. They're only they're like 4 or 5 games behind only. So if he keeps this up, they could make the playoffs. And if they do make the playoffs, he should be in consideration for MVP 100%. Because this is the most historic run since Kobe's run a couple years ago, where he had like a couple 50-point games, like 5-6 straight. This might even be better, because he's also getting 9 assists, 8 rebounds, or 9 rebounds, 8 assists, whatever. And so, if the Blazers do make the playoffs, it'll even be impressive if they could steal, let's say, 1 game from the Lakers. That would already be insane, especially if Damian Lillard goes off for that 1 game. And that should honestly secure his MVP if that does end up happening. Similar to the way how Allen Iverson played the Lakers in the finals in the early 2000s, and he stole Game 1 from them, which obviously they lost the series 4-1. But the fact that Allen Iverson could step up and just even win a game against that good of a team, if that happens again with Damian Lillard, I think he would deserve to win MVP. The Pacers in Indiana with no Luka Doncic. Kristaps Porzingis dropping, I believe, 36 or 38 points. The Pacers having Victor Oladipo. I said from the start that even with adding Oladipo, the Pacers wouldn't be that much better. I always thought that, because when you have a guy like T.J. Warren and Sabonis both dropping 18 points a game, I don't see how with those 2 guys doing that, Oladipo could just come in and make them way better. Obviously, they're going to be much better in the playoffs, but I just don't see them being that much better than how they played earlier in the season. Because if Oladipo starts playing really well, then Sabonis's and TJ Warren's averages are going to just have to drop off. And also Malcolm Brogdon. Because now Victor Oladipo is going to be the main guy. So the Pacers are still, I think, they're worse than the Bucks, worse than the Raptors, worse than the Heat. And I honestly think they're worse than worse than the Celtics. And they're worse. I think that they're worse than the Sixers. The Sixers might have lost by 31 points to the Heat, but I still think come playoff time they just might be a worse team than the Sixers. The Clippers narrowly beat the Spurs yesterday, 108-105, with Kawhi Leonard having a pretty great game. The Kings beat the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves, I believe, have lost 15 straight with Cat or without Cat. I'm not sure. Cat still has not won a game since November. And when people say, "Oh, his team's bad," if you watch the Timberwolves play, yeah, Cat's amazing offensively, but defensively, he's possibly the worst big in the league. Worse than Mars Leonard. He's soft. He doesn't even, at least Mars Leonard, keeps his defensive assignments. Cat just doesn't do that. He just roams around doing whatever. And as a center, that's one of the that's arguably the most important position on defense. And his defense can't rely on a center. They don't have a center defensively. He's just awful when it comes to that. And that's they would have at least won 1 or 2 games if he knew how to play decent defense. But he doesn't. So that's just what it comes down to. The Bucks recently, a couple minutes ago, they beat the Pelicans away from home, 120-108. Giannis dropping 34 points, 17 rebounds, 6 assists. Solid performance from Chris Middleton, 28-8, like he always does. Zion Williamson played really well also. He had a couple impressive plays on Giannis, and just showing what might just be the rivalry of the future, Zion versus Giannis. And so with that loss, that might push the Pelicans to make a trade in 1 or 2 days, maybe trade Jrue Holiday. They said they didn't want to, and they wanted to make a push for the playoffs, but it's seeming more unlikely that they're just not going to be able to get a playoff spot. Because I believe that the Trailblazers and the Phoenix Suns both have not the Phoenix Suns, the Memphis Grizzlies both have much better chances to make the playoffs. So far, it's halftime right now for the Nuggets Trailblazers games, and it's looking like Damian Lillard is cooling off. 13 points in the first half, but and they're getting blown out right now by 26 points. But I can't really say anything though, because when he played the Lakers, he only had 20-something points, I think, in the first half of that game, and he dropped I think 25 points, I think. Something crazy like that. He dropped that many points in just the third quarter. So you can't really count Dame out of that game yet. They're probably still going to lose, but I think Dame could get at least like 35, 40 points if he steps his game up. The Miami Heat beat the Sixers 137-106 yesterday. They got beat by 31 points, completely embarrassed in front of everyone, every single NBA fan. Jimmy Butler had 38 points in only 3 quarters. If he would have played even half of the fourth quarter, he would have had 40. He would have had 40 points if he just played one more minute. That's unfortunate, but that's fine. He missed all 12 minutes of the fourth quarter. And if he did play the fourth quarter, he would have easily dropped 50. But that's okay. Bam Adebayo had 18 points, 11 assists, and 8 rebounds. It is unfortunate also that he got pulled out halfway through the fourth. All he needed was 2 more rebounds, and he gets another triple-double. But also, that's okay. A win is a win. But it just would have been nice to have a 40 or 50-point Jimmy game and a Bam triple-double. But he's showing that if he's getting double-doubles with assists, he's just showing how versatile he is and how in the future he really is going to become the best center in the NBA. He could score, he could pass, he could rebound, he could defend. The point guard all the way through the center. He could run up and down the court and hustle just like any other guard or forward. Because when you think of a passing type center, you think, Nikola Jokic, right? Or Karl Anthony Towns. They can't play defense. Jokic is fat, Karl, he's not really fat, but he's not mobile. So they both can run up and down the court the way Bam can. So that's why I think Bam for the future is gonna be better, especially much better than Jokic. Cat, his defense just holds him back. So I think if Bam develops, let's say in the future he in a couple seasons he on 2 three-pointers made, or no 2 3-pointers attempted per game, and he's shooting 37%. I think he will be the best center in the NBA in a couple seasons, just because there's no one like him, and we haven't seen anyone like him. I don't think ever, or at least this decade, honestly. Defensively, when he just looks like someone like Ben Wallace, but then he could guard the perimeter just like Giannis, right, and run up and down the court. Offensively, he could pass just as good as any other guard can. He could score at will. He has a good mid-range jumper. So someone like Joel Embiid, who doesn't want to step up, he'll just hit a jumper, and it's good, right? And so Jimmy Butler hit 2 3-pointers. Also, his 3-point jump shot was broken before, and it seems like he with all the rest he got, his legs just got a bit of rest, and now he looks like he's banging threes now. He was shooting 39% from 3 last season before his wrist injury, so hopefully when it comes to playoff time, the wrist injury goes away and he just goes clutch mode. And you never know, he could average 30 points a game in the playoffs. If this is how he's playing, he could go off. And so for me, the top 5 NBA teams not in order would be the Bucks, Lakers, Clippers, Heat, and I think Celtics, unless I'm forgetting a team. No, I think that's it. He obviously at either 4 or 5 there. I don't think the Nuggets are top 5. I don't think the Jazz are top 5. I don't think the Raptors are top 5. I think when it comes to the Raptors, they have a lot of injuries they're gonna have to deal with. Masai Ujiri, that has nothing to do with this season, but he might be leaving. It's reported he's trying to leave to go to the Knicks. That was reported a couple hours ago. That it's not a rumor anymore, that people who know him know that he's trying to leave the Raptors, which would kill the Raptors completely. And might force Siakam into a Chris Bosh type situation. And the Raptors really, I just do not think they compete with the Celtics, the Heat, or the Bucks. The Sixers might be close, and then with the Pacers, I don't think they kind of compete. But you never know, they might make the finals at this point. You never know with the East, with the East teams. They might get bounced in the second round. At this point, you don't know. And I personally think either the Bucks or the Heat make the finals. Those are the 2 best playoff teams right now. And if the Heat make a trade and get a really good asset, I think they might be able to beat the Bucks in 6, honestly, in the playoffs. because like if you look at the beginning of the season, yes, they did beat the Bucks without Jimmy Butler in Milwaukee, but then again, that was the beginning of the season, so you can't really look at that to say that they're better. But that just shows that the Bucks are beatable, especially without Jimmy. They're still beatable. So I think with Jimmy, I think the Heat would have a good chance. That'll do it for this week's episode of the Boiling Point Sports Podcast. I hope you all enjoyed and have a wonderful day.